Okay, so if you remember last time we met, we talked about test-driven development and the TDD cycle. We start by writing a failing test. We make that test pass, and then whatever, we write just enough code to make the test pass, and then we refactor to clean it up. Okay. Um,
Mhm.
so all that being said, yeah, we did some practice and that sort of thing. I wanted to quickly introduce the idea of BDD or behavior driven development. Um, it's the idea of using requirements as what you should test. The guy who came up with BDD is Dan North, and he realized that the term test driven development is confusing because it uses the word test, even though yeah, that's technically what you're doing. Um, you can quickly get into the weeds writing tests that don't really matter and don't really move you forward. So his suggestion is if you think of behavior instead of test, then it changes how you approach doing test driven development. So what you do is you write acceptance tests for for a set of specifications. Um, Notice that's when we were doing the uh, the TDD exercise. That's effectively what we were doing. We created a list of specifications and requirements, and for each requirement, we wrote a test. And that's really um, it's in a sense that's behavior driven design or development. TDD using a BDD kind of approach. But yeah, every test would represent some specific requirement by the client. Um, so it with BDD, it's very similar. You know, with TDD, we would say you've got your um, uh, what is it? Let's go back to it. Here we go. Arrange, act, and assert. They don't want to forget stuff. Uh, so instead of arrange, act, and assert, for BDD, we have given, when, then. So given we have this precondition, when that change, whatever change is made to the system, then this is the result that I expect. So it's very similar to the arrange, act, assert. But it's a different focus and a different set of assumptions, which helps you to write better unit tests. There's a, a tool called my vocabulary is just dying today. Um, Cucumber that helps you to create uh, behavior driven design system, and it uses a language that they call gherkin because of course you have to be clever like that when you're talking about cucumbers. So a gherkin is a type of pickle. So anyhow, the language is gherkin, and it uses a given, when, then syntax in putting together the tests that Cucumber goes and converts into JUnit tests, which is it's an interesting system. Um, I'm not going to demonstrate it here. If you want to learn more about it, we can do a session on it. But I wanted to at least introduce you to the concept and what it's about. So the next question is what you had mentioned earlier. What if I need to fix some code? Can I do TDD on that? And so the answer to that is bit of course. Yes. So with TDD, we write our failing test. You're right, just enough code to make the test pass. Then you refactor that to clean everything up, and you go through this cycle with constant dopamine hits along the way, and it's lots of fun. When you're cleaning up code, what you start with is a passing test. You write a unit test that forces something to do. If it's a bug, you force it to exercise that bug. to show that that bug is there. Or if it's a missing feature, then you write a unit test to show that that feature is in fact missing. So you get that test to pass, and then you go and you change the test so that it fails properly. It fails if it's a bug, you have it fail in such a way that the bug is now corrected. Or if you're adding a new feature, you fail in such a way that the feature is now expected to be there. Then again, you go and you write enough code to make that test pass, and you refactor things. So this is our cycle for doing PDD when you're doing test-driven maintenance. Does that make sense?
Sorry, I didn't quite understand the first step. So, where do we start with writing passing test, like
Right.
in terms
So
of existing requirements?
yeah, so right now, the program is itself the proof of correctness. Okay, it runs the way it does because that's the way it's supposed to. Even if it's got a bug, what it is correct. So you write a unit test that passes, that exercises the program doing what it already does, and assuming that what it already does, frankly, is wrong. Okay, it's either got a bug or it's got a missing feature. So you write a test exercising the program doing what it does now. And you get that test to pass to make sure that it used to do that, or it once you've changed, you can say, okay, it used to do that and it doesn't do it anymore, because then I'm going to change that test. I'm going to make it fail because this is what it needs to do now. Okay. So we're making sure that we are in fact exercising the program, and then we change it, make sure that it no longer does what we need it to do, and then we change the program to make it do what we need it to do. Notice we only change one thing at a time. We either change the program or we change the tests. But you don't go changing a test in the program at the same time. Otherwise, that's going to make things bad. You're not going to, you'll be left in a bad state. Okay. So, um, I know what you're thinking next. My code doesn't have any tests. It doesn't have unit tests, or the unit tests that I have really don't exercise it very well. And frankly, it's not very testable. The code that I work on every day is 25-year-old Java desktop application that was written by a self-taught, very brilliant and very prolific developer. Um, but it is not testable. So I've spent much of my time just trying to figure out how to test the code. So that being said, the book that I reference regularly is Michael Feathers' Working Effectively with Legacy Code. The way Michael Feathers defines legacy code is he says that legacy code is code that doesn't have tests. So and he's modified that some over the years, but for the most part, what he says is that if it doesn't have any unit tests, any way to test it, then it's legacy. It's not maintainable until you can test code. It's really not maintainable. One of the topics he talks about in his book is the idea of characterization tests. And the thing is that characterization tests, what you do is you lock down some section of the code that you need to refactor, you need to add a feature, you need to fix a bug. So you kind of have to write tests to exercise it and make sure you're not breaking working functionality when you go in there to clean up functionality. So, and the reason they're hard is for one or more of these four reasons. It has high cohesion, which means that everything is connected to each other. Lots of objects depend upon each other in too closely, which makes it really hard to test things in isolation. Or you'll have large classes or large methods which just, I mean, they run on for, thousands of lines of code, and they're really it's hard to lock down that much code. And there's all kinds of side effects in there that you may not be able to protect yourself against, and or you may have a whole bunch of parameters that you pass in, or you'll pass in an object that you go dig down into to get a God object that you go and dig down into it to get the data that you need, and it can be really problematic. Or it's just frankly not designed with testing in mind. So it'll require test doubles, mocks, and fakes and that sort of thing to get things to work. I really wonder how anybody is able to play this piano, or I'm guessing it's just a clever decoration on the wall. Anyway, so so with all that in place, the solution that I have found that has been most helpful is a tool called approval tests. So I'm going to introduce to you today the idea of test-driven maintenance using this tool called approval tests. Um, the I discovered this some years ago, and spent a great deal of time trying to figure out how to use it, and had tremendous difficulty. And I finally connected with the author of the tool, and he invited me to help him improve the documentation. So he and I have been working on fixing the documentation and fixing bugs in the tool for some years now, and I'm now a contributor to the project, which is really cool. The nice thing about it, it's really easy to add. You just add a Maven or a Gradle, um, whatever, uh, 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 whatever in your Palm file or your Gradle file. Yeah, the link to it. There's lots of documentation and videos for how to use it. It supports older versions of Java, which is nice. It supports, I think, at least 12 different languages. Um, it helps with test-driven development in that a failing test is a lot easier to write when you're using approval tests. I'll show you how it works and why this is, but basically, it makes it easier for you to define target output. For instance, in this um, FizzBuzz exercise we did before, we came up with, okay, what does one do? What does two do? What does three do? What does four do? What does five do? Six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 15. And so we created all these different examples that, and a unit test for each one. With approval tests, we could just say, okay, this is what I expect to see for 1 to 100, and then create the output, and then have approval tests go and verify that that's what the output is, which is really handy. Um, it's got lots of functional uh, tools, and a library full of all sorts of extra little tidbits that can be really helpful. Like, it'll generate combinations of parameters given a list of potential parameters. So you can have any combination of parameters to pass into the unit test, so it will go and do a complete exercise of the code. And it'll quickly generate hundreds of test cases to go and verify that, which is, I find it tremendously powerful and tremendously helpful, especially when I'm trying to do a characterization test on some old code that I have no idea how it works. So, that in mind, let's practice. Okay. So, what I want to introduce you to is a coding kata called the Gilded Rose. Have you heard of the Gilded Rose? It's a
Mm,
very popular refactoring kata. So,
no,
yes.
no, I have not.
Oh,
I
okay.
have.
All right. So if you want to see how the author solves it in Java, you can go to her set of videos. They're very well done. She actually uses approval tests there as well. But we're going to do it my way because I want to save time and not, you can go back and watch her thing. Um, so the 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 way we do this, you start by clone the code and write some unit tests. And where is the explanation here? Um, well, heck, I'm sorry. I thought the description was in here, but it is not. Tests, okay. All right. So start test. Okay, let me get the description here. Builded rows requirements. There we go. Sorry. So you go to the requirements. Yeah, I will send you the link to the here. I'll put this in the chat right now so that you can get to that. You can see that she's got it in dozens of different languages. Um, she's got it. Yeah, it's TypeScript, COBOL, Ada, C, Elixir, a couple of different versions in Java, OCaml. And so yeah, if you want to learn a new language, this is a cool tool. But so here's the requirements for this. All right. Welcome to Team Gilded Rose. This is based on not Minecraft. There's a multi-user game um, that yeah, I'm sorry, I can't remember right now. Anyhow, as you know, we're a small inn with a prime location, prominent city run by a friendly innkeeper named Allison. We buy and sell only the finest goods. Goods that are constantly degrading in quality as they approach their sell-by date. We have a system in place that updates the inventory for us. It was developed by a no-nonsense type named Leroy, who's moved on to new adventures. Your task is to add the new features to our system so we can begin selling a new category of items. Okay, so this is our requirement. We need to add a new category. So first, an introduction. All the items have a sell-in value, which denotes the number of days we have to sell the items. All items have a quality, which denotes how valuable the item is. And at the end of the day, our system lowers both values for each item. Okay, pretty simple. Well, this is where it gets interesting. Once the sell-by date has passed, the quality degrades twice as fast. So the quality of an item is never negative, but aged brie actually increases in quality the older it gets because cheese gets better with age. Quality of an item is never more than 50. So 50 is the maximum it can be. Sulphurous, being a legendary item, never has to be sold or decreases in quality. Okay, so that's a special thing. So we need to remember that. Backstage passes, like aged brie, increase in quality as the sell-in value approaches. And then it increases by 2 when there's 10 days or less, and by 3 when there's 5 days or less, but it drops to 0 after the concert. Nobody needs a backstage pass after the concert. Okay. We recently signed a supplier of conjured items. It requires an update to our system. A conjured item degrade in quality twice as fast as normal. Feel free to make any changes to update quality method, add any new code, as long as everything works. However, do not alter the item class or the item's property, as those belong to the goblin in the corner who will insta-rage and one-shot you, as he doesn't believe in shared code ownership. You can make the update quality method and items property static if you like. will cover for you. Just for clarification, an item can never have its quality increase above 50. Sulfurous is a legendary item as such its quality is 80 and it never alters. So there's all kinds of special cases, and these are the things we have to remember for the project, okay? So all that being said, rather than have you struggle with your development environment, I'm going to go through it myself. And here we go. I'm going to go through this myself, and I'm going to walk you through how we would do this. All right. So here is our Gilded Rose project. It is it's not too long. It's only 62 lines, mostly these closing braces. You can see that it's if statements everywhere, craziness, and we have a great test here. We've got foo, selling, assert equals fix me. So if we run the unit test, it fails. We expected fix me, and it's really foo. So what is this? Oh, item name is foo. So foo. Yeah, whatever. So this, yeah. So here's our problem. We've got this unit test. We've got all these different things. We've got the cell in. We've got this item object. We're not allowed to change it, but this is what the item looks like. We've got a name, a cell-in, and a quality. And you got a toString for that, which might come in handy, okay? So with all that in mind, and we've got this here, so we can merge these. Yeah, we could maybe if we're sure that it works, but it's got all this stuff to check. Let's see what we can do to clean up this code so we can add right now. I haven't got the foggiest idea of how I would add the new conjured item, right? This is craziness. So first, what I want to do is I want to add a characterization test, which is a test that goes and exercises all the code so that I feel comfortable that I've exercised all the code. So how will I do that? Well, I will go to my pom.xml, and I'll see that it's not too complex. What I want to do is I want to add the uh, the approval tests. So how I will do that is I'll go here and I'll say approvaltests.com. See, these are all the different languages that it supports. This is a Java tool, so I'm going to go to Java. And what can be used for getting started, how to get it, Maven. So I'll go here, and I can copy this as my dependency definition for my Maven project. So I'll come in here, and here's my dependencies. We'll add a new dependency, add approval tests, and then I'll click here to update my Maven. Very good. So now I have the ability to here. What I will do, I'm going to have the test on this side, and I will say split right. So I have the code on the right and the test on the left. I don't need the POM anymore. Okay. So I do not need a foo test. What I will do is I will say, make this the characterization test, right? So what I will do to test this, we say we have this app update quality, and that doesn't return anything, but we have this items. So we have app items 0. Okay, so what I can do is I can create this item array, pass that in, say update quality. Instead of saying assert equals, I'll say approvals dot verify. Um, and since it is an array, I'll say verify all. And this will be items, items. Okay. And the new item is food. So let's go ahead and run this test and see what we get. Okay, so it failed, and it throws up my diff tool, which says, okay, we've got this foo minus 1 and 0. So so that's what we have. Uh, you'll see that the test that I wrote is gilded rose test dot characterization test dot receive dot text. So this is the result that came back from the approval tests. And this is what I expected. This gilded rose test characterization test, that's the name of my test, and approved dot text. Well, approved didn't exist. So it's empty. So if I go and I copy this over, why do I copy it over? Because that's the right answer. How do I know that's the right answer? Because that's what the program does. What the program does is the right answer when you're making a characterization test. So I copy that over, I save it, and then I run my test again. Now it's green. If we look here in my project, you'll now see I have this gilded rose test, characterization test approved, .text, and that's in my folder with my tests. So the name of the test is part of the name of the file, so that if I have a unit test that fails, all I need to do is look at which approval test failed. That can take me to the unit test that failed, and I can determine what changed and broke the test. All right, so all that being said, let's look back here at the code. The item, this is our item, has a name, a sell in, and a quality. So let's look here, and we have an item called aged brie. So let's go ahead and have another new item, aged brie. Right. And sell in, I'll make that a 0 and a 1. We also have this backstage passes, blah, humana, humana, whatever that is. We'll create an item for that. New item, got to do a comma. New item, 0, 0. Let's do that, 0, 0, quality. And then we've got this sulfurous hand of Ragnaros. Add one of those. Boom. I like it when the AI figures out what I'm doing. Another backstage pass, that's the same kind of backstage pass. Sulfurous Hand of Ragnaros, that's the same. Aged Brie, we've got that. Backstage, that's the same backstage pass. Sulfurous Hand of Ragnaros, okay. So all of our item names that we checked for are in our list here, okay. So I don't need another comma. And I will go ahead and run this test. And we see that this fails as well. Now we know that these are correct. How do we know that they're correct? Because that's what the program does. So we know that that's correct. So we'll go ahead and save that and we'll run the test again. Great, we passed. Now what do we do? Well, let's see what we need to have for this sell in. We go and look at our specification again. What does it say about the sell in? It's the number of days we have to sell the items. And so sell in value approaches. Okay, so sell in is sort of like our last day. Let's look at the code here and see um, what can our sell in values be. So we've got 11 less than 11. So what we can do here is we can now do something that I want to show you, a really cool feature of approval tests. Okay. Um, I can go and create an H-bring with a sell in of, what did we say? That's an 11. And less than 11. Well, we got one that's less than 11. That's 0. So we got 11. And then we've got less than 6. And then we've got a less than 0. So we've got all these sell-in values. So I can create a sell-in value for all the H-brie, and then one for all these for the backstage pass, and all these for the sulfurous. Or I can have approval test go and generate that for me. So how will I do that? Um, let's let's see here. We've got um, string. We'll call it names equals here. H-bring.
So, Scott, how are you copying? I didn't see you highlighting the
Uh,
words.
I'm sorry. I use I use the Vim key. Uh,
Oh, Vim.
so that's a tool that I learned to use back when I was working in Unix, and I've just loved it. So
Okay.
so we got the HBRE, we got the backstage. Okay, so actually no, we can't comment that out yet. So yeah, if I'm jumping around and you wonder why, it's because I'm a I'm a long beard. Or no, we call it a neck beard. All right, so here's our names. We've got HBRE, backstage passes, and sulfurous. So now what I can do is say um, approvals dot, is it com, okay, combination approvals dot verify all combinations. Okay. And so I can then say, so basically I'll pass in a function. So this would be name such that um, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to look at my history here real quick. See how I do this. Um, name some quality names. All right, so we got all that. Yeah, I forgot foo here. There we go. All right. Combination approvals, verify all. This colon. Oh, that's right. I have to have an app that goes through. Yeah, I will just copy this rather than code it up because I'm lazy. And that's not what this is about. So do this. So I'll say run app. We'll get name, quality, and selling. Say void run app. Is that void? No, it's a string, private string. So I want to have a function that I can call and pass into this combinations as a lambda. And I just always get tangled up with it. So string name, integer quality, integer quality, integer. Okay. And then we say item, items. There we go. Name, selling, quality. Right? Because the item, you look at our item, we pass in name, selling, quality. Right. So AI did not figure that out. Okay. Oh, nope. What is this? That's not useless. So, and then we'll say Gilded Rose, new Gilded Rose items. Okay. And then we'll say update quality. There we go. Right. And then we'll return items.toString. Return items.toString. Okay. Is that right? Items sub0.toString. All right. So what am I doing here? I'm going to run this app that's going to actually go through and update the quality. So that's really what we do is we have all of this. We call Gilded Rose, and then um, we have to call the update quality function, which is here. I mean that's the only function here. So we call that function to exercise everything, right? And then so we're going to update the quality, and then we're going to see how the quality on that thing changed. And we're going to have um, the approval test go and uh, and test that for every combination. So what we'll do is we'll say, um, yeah, if so, when we call it, we'll say, yeah, verify all combinations. This run app names quality sellers. Okay, so we'll have as names, and we'll have integer quality equals got 0, and then integer selling. All right. And we need to add foo because we had foo before. Foo. Okay, there, just so they all line up. Integer quality selling. So we'll say here, verify all combinations. We'll say, um, what is it? This dot run app. This run app. Right. This run app. Okay, so basically we're just going to, we could say s such that s dot, um, no, we go, what is it? This dot run app, um, and then pass in name sub zero, whatever. We can do it the long way, or let's do it the short way. This run app, comma, names, quality, and so on. Okay. Does this make sense what I just did? Don't need
Mm,
that anymore. And I don't need that anymore. Are you able to follow at all what I just did?
yeah, trying to so lambda
The lambda,
the lambda a little rusty on lambda.
right. That's okay.
Yeah,
So basically, lambda, basically I can just, I can say, um,
I've used that s and then arrow sign, that syntax uh, functional code, but double colon, I forgot what that does.
yes, I can say test such that test dot run app private string run app. This dot run app, and then you pass in foo, comma, 1, comma, 1, right? And it doesn't like that because, and lambda body to that. Return this run app. Yeah, I'm rusty on lambdas myself, which is why I had to look this up. Um,
Mm.
um, but
Yeah, I was think back in the days I was preparing for a Java 8 certificate, and but then never end
yeah,
up using the new features. So
yeah, I did not read up on my lambda stuff. I haven't done it in a while because of other things I've been working on, and so
right.
I'm sorry I'm rusty on it. And just trust me, this works. How's that sound?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, basically I'm following.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
All right. But basically, you can see what it does. It's going to have a list of
right.
names and a list of qualities and a list of cell-ins. And this run app is going to be called with the name, quality, and cell-in and return the string. So what this combination approval is going to do is it's going to run this app for every combination of every name, every combination of every quality, and cell-in. And it will generate output. Let me show you what that looks like. So you see it's going to fail. So now we have this H brie. Why is the I highlighted? It's weird. Um, so this is what I received. This is the combination that it created, and this is the result. Oh, I see, because we got this capital I and a lowercase I. So that's the only difference there. So you can see the results are the same, but the label is different, right? Was item number, and now it's the combination of values is the label. And instead of just an equals, we've got a little arrow thing. So let's go ahead and copy that over, and we'll run our test one more time. Okay, great. So we're doing a combination for all of these. And now I can go through and I can look in here and say, for quality, we have quality is 50. We have quality of 0. And another quality of 50. Quality of 50 and 0. Okay. And it increments by 1. So let's basically have a quality of 0. Um, let's have a -1. 0, 1, just to go around every value that's there. 49, 49, 50, and 51, right? And we have this, I remember we have in our specification that sulfurous, the quality is 80 and it never alters. So let's go ahead and add a quality of 80 for sulfurous, because it's not supposed to get bigger than 50 unless it's 80, right? Because it says the quality is never more than 50. So let's try that. Okay, so you see it generated all these different combinations and all the values, and we know these are correct. How do we know it's correct? Because that's what the program does, right? So we go ahead and copy all these over, because that's what it does. That's the answers we have, and we'll save those. And now we'll look at the cell in. So the cell in, we have cell in is 11. So we got a 0. Let's try a -1. -1, 0, 1. And then you got a cell in of 11. So let's 10, 11, and 12. And then we got a 6. So let's go back here and do a, heck, let's just do this. The math.range, there we go, range from, what is that, range, create a local variable, rename, oh, come on, range, or lambda utils, range, get, start, stop. So we'll start at -1 and we'll stop at 11. Okay, so we got cell in 11. We'll say we'll stop at 12. Okay, get. What is this? Cell in type 2 Java Lang integer array. Oh, okay. Maybe I don't know how range works. Do we use a range here? Item from range.get -1, I went 15. So what kind of range do we use up here? So origin lambda utils range. Or lambda utils range. There we go. Range.get. Oh, it's already returning an array. There we go. Ha! And he went to 15 for whatever reason. Fine, we'll do 15. Just it doesn't cost any more to do that. So we'll go ahead and run our test again. And we've got big old monster pile of tests. That's great. How many lines is this? Oh, it's 29K of tests. So we'll take all of that, copy all of it over, save it, and we'll run the test one more time. And it's green. So is this enough testing? Let's see. We will go here and do a Gilded Rose test with coverage, right? So it passed the test, and this is our output. And here's our Gilded Rose. We have 100% test coverage for Gilded Rose and for item. All the lines are covered, every branch is covered. So we have complete coverage of the function. And I don't know how long did that take us? 20 minutes to get this all done? And we've got literally hundreds of tests. This is one of the reasons I just absolutely love approval tests because it is just so cool like this.
Mhm.
Okay,
So the convention is one test method does one thing and only one thing, right? But with
right,
the approval test, we kind of um, use one method to cover all the test cases,
right,
and we don't need to write a lot of
right.
code, test code.
And basically, what you're doing is you're checking against a text file that you can eyeball and look at it and see that it's got the right values in it. And so if I need to make a change, I can add a value in here and make sure that I get the value I expect. We'll get to that in a minute. We're running a little bit long today. Do you have time? Okay.
Yeah.
So so the first thing we're going to need to do to be able to add the conjured is to be able to say, okay, let's refactor some of this stuff. First, we've got this underline thing here, and it says merge this statement. So if I do an Alt Enter, merge this if statement with the enclosing one. Well, that doesn't help much. Um, let's just um, let's go a different direction here. This is what I'm thinking is we've got H brie here and we've got H brie down here. Let's get all the stuff that has to do with H brie. Um, mm, I'm thinking that might be more useful. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll say this is a this is a testing technique that I learned for doing this sort of thing. So if I want to get all of the stuff that's for H brie, say for int I equals 0, actually, I see this items sub I as an array everywhere. Why don't I have this? I can just to simplify things, I can say here, what is item? Item equals items sub I. And then I can go and I can change all the items sub I to be items. So, okay. Why is it not doing that? I don't understand. Fine, I'll do this. What's going on here? That's a special character. That's it. We'll just go through and change all of them. Okay, let's make sure that still works. It does. All right. So now we got item name equals aged brie. So let's break that out. Item name equals aged brie, else all this stuff. And we got this here, and we got the sell-in item aged brie. So how can I break that out? We'll say here. Um, if item dot name equals age action. Let's do this. Yeah, that's fine. If item dot name equals aged free, then we're going to not do that. We will do all of this stuff, right? So I'll just move that up here. And let's make sure I didn't break anything by doing that. Oh, I broke something. Broke all of this stuff. Okay, so let's undo what I just did.
We missed the else after that.
So item name equals aged free. There. If item name doesn't equal aged brie, we do all this. Oh, if it's aged brie and it equals backstage pass. So let's just copy this whole thing. Oh, and so it's not aged brie and it's not backstage pass, we do this. So if it's aged brie, we do this. And if it's backstage pass, we do this as well. So let's do that. We'll just take all of this. We're going to duplicate code. So if it equals backstage pass, right there, boom. Right. So this time it should work. Yes. Okay. So now, so if it's not HBRE and it's not backstage pass, we're going to do all this stuff. Um, Now, if it's HBRE, then it's not a backstage pass, so I can take this out. Great. Let's make sure that doesn't break anything. That doesn't break anything. So if HBRE, if the quality is 50, then okay, great. So if it's a backstage pass, we already know it's a backstage pass. So this probably says we don't need this. It's always true. So we'll go ahead and tell it to clean that up. Great. All right. So here quality is less than 50. Quality, we know that it's less than 50, right? So we don't need to do this. Oh, because item quality is less than 50. Oh no, we increment it, so we want to see if it's still less than 50. And here, we still want to see if it's less than 50. Okay, so we can't change that. All right, so we'll leave that alone for now. If it's not age green, it's not baked spray. It has quality. So if it equals sulfurous. All right, good. So if it equals sulfurous, if it's not sulfurous, then we do this. So we can stick that into the aged brie and the backstage pass, right? Right, so if it's not aged brie, so we can like move this in here. If it's not, we're still green. Okay, good. And we got the sell in, so aged brie. So if item sell in is less than 0, so let's go ahead and move this in here. Just move this inside aged brie and clean that up. Then I'm going to move it inside backstage pass. And then I'm going to move that inside everything else. And then I'm going to delete it from here. See if that still works. Okay, so I got a bunch of duplicated code, I know. But I can now go in here and say if it's not equal to aged brie, well, we know it is aged brie. So I can delete all of this. Oh, there. And get that all lined up. Okay, so if less than 50, we increment. If it's still less than 50, we increment again. All right. Now we got backstage pass here. And we got this. If it's not a backstage pass, well, we know it's not a backstage pass. Wait, no, this is. So if it is a backstage pass, so we know it is a backstage pass. So if it's not, we can take this out. Okay, so we know it's not aged brie because it's a backstage pass. Take that out. Okay. So we've got all this stuff for backstage pass. We've got all this stuff for aged brie. Good. Now, uh-oh. Where do I not line up? Right here. There. Okay. There we go. Let's make sure I didn't break anything by all that. Hope I did break things. Okay, fine. So let's just undo what I just did. Does that work there? Nope, it doesn't. It doesn't even compile. So undo that. All right. So that works. All right. So this is the backstage pass. So if it's not a backstage pass, don't care. Get rid of that. Okay. What am I doing wrong here? That. Oh, else, what's wrong with the else? Else without if. Here's the if. Oh, yeah, we just don't need the else at all. What am I missing out on here? If, don't need that, and we don't need that. Okay, sorry. Okay, good. So that all works. Man, okay. So this is all we do for backstage pass. And now we've got it's not H-Pre, not backstage pass. Well, basically we got foo or sulfurous. So let's just go and say if it's sulfurous. So if it's sulfurous, then we're going to do this, right? And now I'm going to be checking for everything but sulfurous. So that's if it's not sulfurous. If it is sulfurous, okay. So if it's not. So basically, do this here. Else, else. Make sure that doesn't break up my logic. That does break the logic. Darn it. So equals, just take that out. Let's get it to working again. Okay. So if item name doesn't equal, if it doesn't equal. So we don't have anything that it does if it does equal sulfurous. Not age green. Okay, it could be this. But let's try this here. We'll say if item dot name dot equals sulfurous hand of Ragnarok. We'll just put all this stuff in here, right? So if item name, great. It's not equal to those, right? If it's not equal to sulfurous, okay, so we can take that out. Great. That does nothing. All right. Now, if it's not sulfurous, we take that out. Great. So here we've got, if it's not sulfurous, we take that out. That doesn't do anything. Take it out. There, we can say, okay, let's invert this. Invert the if condition. Great. So the nine, if it's backstage pass, we know that it's not, it's sulfurous. So we take that out. All right. If it's not equal to H brie, then we do nothing. Okay, so let's go ahead and invert this one as well. All right, so if it's H brie, it won't be because it's sulfurous. Okay, so that doesn't do anything. So if it's sulfurous, we do nothing. Well, that's really interesting. So now we have all this other stuff. So if it's H brie, we do this. If it's backstage pass, we do this. And so we'll say this is if, basically if it's anything else. If anything else. So let's go ahead and just make this an else, right? Right? Let's see if that works. There, that does work. Okay, so now we can go and look at this final else if it's anything else. So it's not aged brie, we know that, and it's not so great. So so this is just a redundant check. Let's go here. If it's not sulfurous, so it is not, we can get rid of that if, right? If it's not sulfurous, we know it's not, so we can get rid of that if. Go in here. If it's not sulfurous, we know it's not, we can get rid of that if. If it's not a backstage, okay, great, we can get rid of that if. Okay, if it's not aged brie, we know that it's not, so that's good. Um, yeah, we know it's not aged brie, so we can get rid of that if now. Okay. Now, if it's not aged brie, we know it's not aged brie, and we know it's that, not that, so we can get rid of that. Okay. So if anything else, we're going to do this. Okay. So let's see if I broke anything. Run the test again. We did break something. Okay. So all right. Let's get back to where we work. And then we'll just go through here and do it line by line and run a test each time. That's what I'm supposed to do anyway, right? Not aged brie. We know it's not aged brie, right? So and get rid of that, get rid of that, run our test. Oops. Second here, backstage pass. We know backstage pass is not aged brie, right? Great. Clean that up. Okay. Right. I think I went back too far. Okay. So it's not sulfurous. Take that out. Right. It's not sulfurous. Take that out. It's not sulfurous. Take that out. It's not the concert. Take that out. It's not aged brie. And take that out. Are you following what I'm doing?
Hmm.
Okay. It's not aged brie. And it's not. So basically, all of this I can take out. Is that right? No, it's not. Oh, no, no, that it is not that. I know that's true. So I get rid of that and I can get rid of that. So now that should work. Nope. Okay. So if what is this here? Boom. Simplify this to be true. Okay, good. Right? Not aged brie, right? So I know it's not aged brie. Get everything lined up here. Okay. So I know it's not aged brie. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Nope. It's not aged brie. So if it's HBRE, we go here. If it's not HBRE, then we do all this stuff, do all of that. False. Yeah, invalid item name. Let's try that. Okay, well, I mean, I don't have anything in the output that says invalid item name. Why can I not get rid of this? It's getting rid of all the HBREs. Oh, okay, well, all right, well, for whatever reason, I can't get rid of that. Oh, wait a second. Okay, so that works. I see. So if I take this out now it should work. There we go. Ah, so now we're at the point where we can go back and add our conjured items. They degrade in quality twice as fast as normal items. Okay, so now what I need to do is add a conjured. And let's see what happens. Okay, so we have a new section down here. That's all of our conjured. And so the quality is what? The quality is the third one, right? So it should degrade in quality twice as fast. So basically, where it goes from 49, 47, 49, 47. So that went down by 2. So that should be 46, right? No, 45. That should be a 45. That should be a 46. Right? Oh, from 49 to 48. 49 to 48. So that should be a 47. 49, 48. That'd be a 47. Okay. So we'll just I'll leave it at that. I'll just move everything over, save it, and we'll see if we have that correct. So we'll have conjured, and we'll add a new item. Say else if item dot name dot equals conjured, then what we'll do is all of this stuff, except quality will be down by 2, right? So let's try that. And it should throw up an error, but the ones that we changed should be okay. So go here. Right. So 49 goes to 45. So those are the ones that we changed, and those are correct. So now we know that we added the new feature correctly because we had the test, the failing test for what it did, and then we put in a test. This is actually the expected result for working correctly. And so then we run the test and we make sure that it passes. It is, in fact, working correctly for the ones that we want. So now I can just copy those over and I'm confident that it works properly. Now, trying to change that original code would have been absolutely impossible. I mean, I have no idea what I would have done to make that change. But here, it was quite literally maybe a minute to make that change, probably less. So what I would recommend you do is, I think I put the Gilded Rose, the link to the Gilded Rose in there for you. Didn't I? If not, I will go ahead and
Yeah,
put
you did.
I did. Oh yeah, that's right. There it is. I see it now. So I would recommend you go through and work through this yourself. You can use my video as a suggestion, or you go back here, you see that she has a link to her video. Where did it go? Right. So she has a video where she solved it as well. So you can learn from her to get a different approach for how to solve the problem. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sound good. Uh,
Okay.
where did we get this code repo? Like, is it some some game or some?
Oh, where the idea is from World of Warcraft.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's the idea behind it. But so
Mhm.
yeah, I couldn't remember it earlier. But yeah, so it is cute. But it's a fun little exercise to sort of practice doing
Yeah,
refactoring on code that is effectively unreadable. And notice
rest
that
of these are very confusing.
mhm. Notice that I still don't have much of an idea of how this code works. I just have unit tests that test everything and uh, and make sure. Oh, equals. That's a really bad idea. What am I thinking there? Good. I know better than that. And then we can go through and use merge that, sonar cube, merge it. Okay. Make sure that still works. Yes. Yeah, we can do the recommended quality minus quality 0. Okay. Yep. So 4 can be replaced with enhanced 4. Sure, we can do that. And again, I don't know how most of this stuff works. Replace with a switch statement. You want to do that? No. Well, what the heck? Why not? There we go. And then we can probably turn stuff like this into a function since we call it there and we call it there and clean things up further. So anyhow, um, I just thought this would be a useful and helpful exercise. So I will go ahead and I'll get the recording for this up um, next hour or so, and I will send you the link to that.
Okay, sounds good.
Alrighty then. Any other questions?
Um, yeah, it's too new to the tool. So still trying to get a hang of it. But I
Yeah,
think by doing it, I'll
yeah. It's just something you'll have to practice. And
yeah.
again, yeah, watch Emily's videos as well. She goes through setting up the approval tests and using it in a different way, so you have a better understanding of how approval tests work.
Mhm. Okay, yep,
Okay.
sounds good.
Alrighty then. Well, it was good to see you, and we will see you again next week. If you want to set up um, a body doubling session, you
Hmm.
can use the same link I sent you before. I can send you that link again if you like.
Right. So next week, I thought I would be leaving on Thursday, but it turns out my flight was on, yeah, it's scheduled on next Wednesday. So I
Okay.
guess I won't be able to join next week's session.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll practice this on my own.
Okay.
When I
Well,
come back, maybe we
yeah,
can
and
talk.
and if you want to have a body doubling session before then, just let me know
Sure. Yeah,
and we can do
I'll
that.
book a calendar. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. We'll
Right.
talk to you
Have
later.
a good evening. Yeah. Thank
You
you.
too. Bye.
Bye.